Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are excited, but also a little, I don't know, feeling some kind of way for me in my feelings about tonight. But I'm so excited, number one, because my dear friend Tika is back. And I know some of you may not know Tika from this last phase of Butterfly Evolution, but started from the beginning, and I'm going to bring her in and bring Rodney in right now so that we can all be in the stream. Hello, 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 y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
Two butterflies, two
Rodney.
butterflies and one evolution.
Yes, I
How are
love
y'all
it.
doing? Rodney, had you ever
Wonderful.
met Tika? Did you ever meet Tika?
I can't remember. Maybe.
Or at least on the show?
You know what? I think I came onto a show when you all were doing the show. It wasn't live where you could see it on camera, but it's when we were just doing the radio show and you could just hear each other. So I
Yeah,
remember hearing
yeah.
Rodney, and I kind of came on to an episode. I was no longer on the show, but I kind of came for like a guest appearance or kind of uh,
That
kind of
sounds about
came in
right.
and asked questions and talked. Yeah. So, oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Okay. Okay. I know. You guys, I was listening to the very, very, very first show. And I played around with some more, just kind of listen a little bit here and there. Right, and I think This Too Shall Pass. I listened to that one that we did. But that first one, oh my gosh, I was like, oh, we sound so just, I don't know, we sounded like children. Well, I did. I sounded like had the all shaky voice. Like it was weird listening to it because I feel like we've evolved so much. Or I speak for myself. I feel like I've grown so much and from the show. Tika, I know you and we talked about this, how we thought we just had it going on and we're going to help
Oh
women
my
because we
goodness.
figured it all out, only to
We
find
had it
out that we
figured
knew
out.
nothing.
Right. The
We
more
knew
look,
nothing about it.
the more research we would do, the less we realized we knew.
Right, right. And the more I realized how broken I still was, like,
Oh
whoa, you
my
still got a lot of work
goodness.
to do. Um, and so, but what
We
really
dug
got me
down,
choked,
we dug down deep. Yeah.
we did. It was interesting that we talked a lot about our grandmothers from on the very first show. Matter of fact, we kind of
Wow.
talked about how we felt we connected because we had just these special ties to our grandmothers. And so it was really kind of emotional for me listening to it because of course now
About
both of
them.
my grandmothers are gone, all of them. I don't have
Mm,
grandmothers anymore. So I am a grandmother now, and so I just was kind of getting choked up thinking about I
wow.
hope that I have the influence on my grandchildren's lives as my grandmothers had on mine. Because now your grandmothers rule the world. I'm sorry, y'all. The parents, mothers, fathers, fine. But there's something about
Yeah.
grandmother. There is something about it, especially when you come to a place of awareness, consciousness, intentional living, and it's so much more a blessing, I'll say, to be a grandmother in this
Mm,
season because I would not have wanted to be a grandmother in my and I'm not there, still not there, but I wasn't close back then, so I could only imagine the toxicity that I would have passed on at that point. So I'm just thankful for this season for sure. um I don't even know where to start. so So I don't have a plan. I don't have anything written out here, and that's just fine. I did put out there that I'm going to ask some questions to our listeners. And if you get the question right, I'm going to cash up you some moolah, some money.
Oh,
wow.
So we're going to have a little game to make it
if you
fun.
see if you see
Um,
my if you see my camera go out, I'm trying to finish up dinner.
um,
So,
oh, I was going to say gonna say. I thought you was gonna say you were gonna go answer the question. I was gonna say y'all can't win. That's what I thought you was
Oh
gonna
no,
say.
no.
Y'all can't
I'm
play.
trying, and nobody likes tough gizzards.
Oh, you're cooking gizzards.
Oh yeah, good and fried too.
Oh, good, good, good.
I
So,
got home late
but
and was like, let me try to think of something quick and easy that I
quick.
can do.
Fast.
So I got
Yeah.
some peppers and onions too.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I came home and tried to put down a hamburger. I'm still under the weather, so it's food's just not working for me right now. So, but
Yeah.
I will get there. So I guess let's start with you, Tika. What has I know based on where we started, and I got to get this out there. Just Tika's got to talk about the paradigm shift, you guys. I remember I remember when we were doing the show, and Tika is way deeper than I am. Like she is ocean deep, right? I'm kind of just on top of the water, like my head's still above the water. Tika probably has read every book that's ever come out. I'm not joking.
All of them.
She writes. I mean, she will write all day long, like literally, right. But I remember my most memorable moment for Tika, when Tika and I were doing the show, and Tika brought up the paradigm shift. And I remember thinking, what the hell is she talking about? Because we wouldn't discuss, we wouldn't really prepare for the show and discuss things. But now, like the paradigm shift is a lifestyle, continued lifestyle for me. But it was moments like that, like Tika would introduce, like I said, the deeper part of transformation into the show. And it did take me a minute to catch up with her and like, oh, okay. So what then and now, Tika, what, I don't know, you just go, start.
Oh my goodness. I guess transformation was like the main topic and focus of our show. And at the time, one of my favorite scriptures was about transforming your mind, just not conforming to the patterns of the world and transforming your mind.
Mm,
And so, in order to make a paradigm shift, you can't, you cannot move in a different way, or you can't come up with a solution with the same mindset that created the problem. Can you hear me okay?
mm. Yes. Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? Mhm. Okay.
I can hear
So
you
with the
just fine.
same
Uh-huh.
mindset. Okay. So the mindset that created the problem cannot be the exact same mindset that comes up with the solution. And so, in order to have a different experience, live a different life, have a different outcome, manifest a different future for yourself, you have to actually have a new mindset. And the only way to have a new mindset is recognizing your habits, the habits that are maybe something small to you, but it keeps you in this perpetual place that you
Mhm.
don't want to be in. And so it's recognizing those habits. I remember Tammy used to always tell people to move their trash can. And I kid you not, you could move the trash can, and like 2 seconds later, you would go throw some trash or toss some tissue or just anything. Seconds ago, you just moved it, but you didn't even remember that you moved it simply because that's a part that had become a part of your habit. And so it's recognizing our habits, the habits that do not benefit us. Like they're good habits. There's habits of,
Mm.
you know, getting up, you know, showering, refreshing, cleaning your body, making your bed, making your bed. I like getting in, I like having the habit of making my bed because even though it seems like a tiny little thing, it starts my day off with order. So if I put my
Mm.
bed in order, that's me recognizing that I've set order in my life. I've started my day with order. So you start your day with order is baby steps because everything where we are in life is where all of our tiny, small habitual steps have landed us. And the only way we can be in a
Mhm.
different place in the future, we have to begin taking tiny steps today. And most people think that, well, I can't change and it's impossible or it's too hard, or we get frozen just because we think it's too much to change. But we didn't get where we are right now overnight. And so even though it's going to be small steps, small steps, small steps, doing one thing different out of an entire week, like you said, moving the trash can, that helps you to recognize habits. Doing a small thing, whether that small thing be, okay, I'm going to meditate today, or I'm going to drink more water today, or if you're walking, I'm going to walk an extra 30 minutes today. Adding small incremental steps to your behavior, that's what gives you a completely different outcome. And so right now, I can tell that I'm more on a spiritual path. Like I love how our show, it set a course for us. It actually
Mm,
set a course for us to be intentional about transforming our lives and
right.
know that, I mean, I want my life, I want the actions that I take today to transcend my life. Meaning, after I'm gone, I will have made an impact in the lives that I've touched, the people that I've touched, the people that I've come in contact with. I want to be, I want to live a transcendent life. And so I'm intentional. This show really set us on a course to be intentional about transforming ourselves and bettering ourselves. And we've just become a model in everything we do, and it actually made us better, because when you're doing the show and when you're intentional about letting people know that you're putting focus and energy and time, you're taking the time, energy, and effort in changing your life, it makes you even pay attention even more keenly to what you're doing. For example,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, I remember when I was at the church in Texas, and the church had like a logo, and I put that logo on the back of my car. Now, the normal me, oh, I used to have road rage, driving, cutting people off, all kind of stuff. I put that sticker on the back of my car. I kid you not. If I cut somebody, if I cut someone off or just did something that was rude or run a light, my kids would laugh so hard. They're like, "Mom, why are you rushing? Why are you rushing?" I'm like, I need to get away from those people so they don't realize that I go to Elevate Life Church, simply because I didn't need anybody seeing that I still had some growing to do. I still had some uh, growing up to do. But when you work to be intentional on transforming your life, it makes you it makes you more aware. It's like you're able to step back and almost be an observer of who you are, an
Right.
observer of what you're doing. It's like I'm able to sit still and say to myself, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Or why did I think that? Or why am I feeling this way? I'm able to sit back and ask myself the question, and I'm able to observe Chetiqua and Chetiqua's actions. And that has been everything, the butterfly evolution, because it got us started on this path. And now, this path, this season of my life, I'm observing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought to do that. I've just learned doing that through different books, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks too, but just different books that I read. But there, we learn through church that we're not just a body. We're not a human having a spiritual experience. We're a spirit having a human experience. And so I can, when you're able to be still and observe yourself, as I'm still, my body is still this human side of me, but my spiritual side is giving me guidance, giving me direction, um, pointing me in the right direction, or answering questions that I'm confused about. And I never knew that when I was younger versus now, to be able to know that I can be still and I can ask a question. Feels like I'm asking it to myself, but I'm not asking myself. I'm asking the part of me that is that piece of God. And I'm able to be still and hear and get direction and guidance. And that has been the greatest part of what this show set us on the journey for. It is just really
Thank you,
set,
Tika.
set us up
I can
for
truly say,
greater things.
what I hear most of all, for me, I would not be who I am today, and I would not have transformed in this way and continue to transform. And I love how you talked about observing yourself. asking yourself the questions. I would love to hear if that's anybody else's lifestyle who is on that transformation path, because I'm always observing myself. I'm checking myself. Because I'm intentional about my life now and the kind of life I want. And so in doing that, or being there, I'm gonna say it. I would not be here had it not been for us jumping out, not knowing. I think it was Tony. We found out Tony. I don't even know if he still has
Yes,
the
that
show,
was
but it was
it. That was
teaching.
a radio show.
Yeah, Tony had a blog talk radio show. And we was like, oh, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna help women. And God was just like, I'm gonna help y'all. And so, um, he did, and through that, hopefully we have. I know. Well, I won't say hopefully, because we have touched lives. I want to bring up just a few memorable
Yes,
shows where I know they were so God um, led.
driven. Mhm.
They were. I mean, and I'll just go ahead and say, and then Rodney, I'm gonna bring you in. It was one night day. I mean, the show was that night, and I did not have a topic for whatever reason. I could not get it together. I just could not get it together to bring one. And I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what you're doing here, but you got to give me something.
Mhm.
So he did. And this lady called in and she was sobbing. And she said, I asked God to send me somewhere. I need something. And the very title that I had titled it is what drew her, because it was what her grandmother used to say
Wow.
to her. Grandma used to say to her, and she and I kept in touch for a little bit after that. But she was like, when I saw it, I just knew that I had to listen. So that show, that's how big but small God is. That's how much He's in our business if we would allow
Yeah,
Him to
yeah.
be. And
Mhm.
so that's one. And then I remember a young lady, and I should have invited her to listen, but she sent me a message behind the scenes about how unvalued she, and beautiful. I'm talking about drop dead gorgeous, but she felt
Mhm.
insignificant. She felt like she wasn't beautiful, and she was a young girl. And so I got
Mm.
to talk to her, and so it's just things like that. If those were the only two, that is enough for me, because if you change the lives of two, then there's more after that. You don't have to see the numbers. And I think Rodney, that's probably one of the things I think he liked about it. Got to tell the story about you, Rodney, too. How the book thing, where I heard you on the radio, but you said you weren't on the radio and all that. But so I told Rodney from the beginning, I'm not caught up in numbers. I could get on here and talk to myself. Somebody's going to hear that message that God leads to them. I don't get, I'd rather have one person on here that's going to go back and do the work than 50 people just here just to be here. So
Right.
I'm thankful that we're here. So Rodney, you came in a bit later. Um, I promise I still say this is true. I was at AutoZone and I heard Rodney an interview do an interview on the radio about his book, Tired of Being Black. And I was like, oh my God,
Mm.
I have got to interview this guy. And I didn't even go into AutoZone. I left and I said, I'll come back. I'm gonna go and find him. I'm gonna go find this guy. So I went home, got on my computer, searching, and found him. And somehow
Wow.
I sent you a message on Facebook, I guess it was, I think. But Rodney was like, I haven't been on the
Yep, it
radio.
was Facebook.
And so I was like, you were on the radio. I heard it. So we still don't know. We still don't know what that was about. But he was like, I'll do the interview, but I haven't been on the radio.
What?
And it was like I was in Memphis and Rodney was in Virginia. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm not crazy. I didn't know Rodney from anybody. I didn't know anything about a book. but I know I heard Rodney on the radio talking about his book. And so he was like, I'll do it. Sure, I'll do it. But was it on the radio? And so then Rodney allowed me to interview him. Matter of fact, I remember you said you were sitting at a football game when you got that, you got the message from me. You was like, I'm going to blow up. You thought I was somebody big. You thought I was
And I was in New
posting
York
that
at the
out
time.
at a game or something, right?
Yeah, the game was in New
When the
Jersey,
when
but
the
I was living in New York City at the time.
oh, that's right. You were living in New York. And
Hmm.
so interviewed Rodney, and it was just something. I don't know. He just felt like he felt like I don't know, family. He felt like an old soul to me. Like we kind of knew each other before this life or something. He from the
Yeah.
beginning. And so I ended up saying, "Hey, won't you come on and co-host with me? Won't you come on and do the show with me?" And of course, he said yes. And that's how we ended up. And I guess it was 9 years ago that I first interviewed you. And it was shortly
Hmm.
after that you came on
Can you
with
come
me.
turn the light on in here?
I'm sorry. Say
I
that
don't know
again,
what
Tika.
breed is.
You don't know what? I think I don't know. Tika, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. So Rodney, you give your spiel about butterfly evolution then and now from the time you
I,
came in.
you know what? I heard Tika say a couple of things that I thought were very powerful, and one of them was you can't solve a problem with the same mindset, that created the problem. And I think oftentimes that's why we keep going in circles, because we think that you
Mhm.
know that same mentality that got us nowhere is going to get us out of there. That same mentality that got us in the hole to start with. I think that we think that somehow we don't have to change anything, but all of a sudden we're going to get different results. And
Right.
and I was even reminded yesterday, about the definition of insanity. I was listening to a show on the radio, and I think that the reason why you know we don't grow is because we're using the same strategies, and we're using the same um,
Mhm.
approach. And so when she said that, I was like, yeah, that is true. That that is what we do as people. And then
Yeah.
we wonder why the results are the same. But we if you want things to change, you have to have that mentality of, okay, that didn't work. What's next? And sometimes it's just being patient, right? Sometimes just being patient,
Mhm.
and then sometimes it's our methods. So we have to definitely evaluate and reflect and pray and see, what the next move is. And sometimes, it is meant for you to be in certain situations longer than others, but you're not going to know that if nothing changes in your heart. I am
Mm.
very um, appreciative and humble. This was a wonderful opportunity for me. Um, I remember it was almost 10 years ago, I think, Tammy, because when I was at that game, it was in September 2013, and I had gone to Rutgers University because Norfolk State was playing there, and I was living in New York City, so I was like, it's not that far, so I can go. And there
Mhm.
was no signal in that football stadium, like there was no signal. And then I remember when I first got a signal, I was like, oh snap! Like somebody found me. Like who in the world is like And so, but I just remember
Yeah.
it was bigger and greater than I thought.
Mhm.
And I say that because what we did over the next 8 plus years, I think it was, I would say eight to 9 years. because it was like April of 2014 when I started like coming on with you full time. And what we did during that span, I thought was very powerful. And as you both have alluded to, I think it was more powerful for us and for
Mhm.
the people who did tune into the show.
Mm.
I Tika brought up the trash can. I was like, oh yeah, that like there, that is like the trademark of Butterfly Evolution because Tammy
Yes.
always started off the show with the trash can, and but it wasn't just about moving your trash can. It was about the symbolism and what it represented and
Yeah.
what it meant. Um, and if you could apply that to so many things in your
Right.
life, and you know, as Tika was saying, like you gotta have that transformation mindset, and I think the trash can really spoke to that. I think about um, the guests who we had on the show, people who were very instrumental and very supportive. I think about the people that we lost. I think about Bo
Mm.
from time to time. I think about
I
Dale
did
from
too.
time to time. People
Yeah.
who would call in and offer uh, some good points and just very supportive of the show. I think about people like Anthony and Trent and Aaron. And so there were and people I still connect with, even to this day. And so
Rodney, we had a lot to do. Like Trent will say often, I don't mean to cut you off, that we connected so many people. When he'll
yeah,
talk about people, he'll be like, I met them or I know them through the show. And it's
yeah,
just so powerful. It was bigger than us. It was
yeah,
bigger than us. Like it was bigger than Tika and I in that salon talking about butterflies and we're gonna do this. It was so much bigger when
hmm
we look at the big picture. And as I went back looking at the title of the shows, you guys, we did so many titles from politics to domestic
hmm
violence to what black women experience at
Mhm.
having birth. Um, we've talked about so many things as I went, up and down, but bigger than that, we've connected so many people that would not have met.
yeah. And one of the things I always appreciated was the authenticity of the show. We were not
Hmm.
trying to compete with anybody. We weren't trying to be anybody. We were just like, hey, I have an idea. Hey, let you want to talk about this. Hey, um, and I think that was one of the things that set the show apart. Um, People knew that while we covered a wide range of topics, they knew that they were going to get um, what we had, and we were not going to say things that were
Mhm.
fluffy and pretty all the time, and make people feel good, even though it was a time for growth. And so that was one of the things I really appreciated. And Tammy, we had a bond, like you said, as if we had known each other forever, and we didn't even meet face to face
Like
for
three,
about
4 years
2 years.
later?
It was about 2 years,
2 years?
I
Okay.
think. When we had the education summit, it was 2015, and
Okay.
people were literally like, "Wait, this is the first time y'all met each other? I thought y'all knew." Wait, right? And so that was that connection. And so I think
Yeah.
there are so many memories, so many things to talk about or to get into. But I'm just appreciative and humble for the experience that I've had with Butterfly Evolution.
Mhm.
So I have a comment, you guys, that I want to read. And thank you, Marilyn. So appreciate you. And I'm going to go ahead and get this out there because I don't want I don't want to send the wrong message. Butterfly Evolution Radio is going. The name. I'm coming back. I'm rebranding. I'm coming back. So I just wanted you to know that so I don't lose you. But Marilyn, thank you. She says, congratulations on your accomplishments. I can't stay. So maybe she'll come back and hear this, or I'll have to let her know. She says, just stopping by. My biggest takeaway was don't give them the blueprint. Okay, that's a good one. Don't give them the blueprint. And she says, I enjoyed the platform. Thank you so much. All the best for the rest of your journey. So, oh, I think we lost Tika. So, special thanks to you. Marilyn is someone that I met through my place of employment, and she's been listening quite a bit ever since. So, I'm appreciative of that as well. I'm going to go ahead and throw something out there. So, you guys, the first person that gets this right, and I'm going to leave it up. Well, I was going to say to midnight, but I'm not going to be up midnight. So, I tell you what, no, I'm just going to do it through the end of the show. I'll do it like that.
I know
So,
I ain't gonna be up at no
I'm
midnight.
not going to, and that's something I'm learning, just not to even play around. It just is what it is. I think we're getting Tika back. There she is. So, I'm going to put it out there. So, and if you guys have been listening, you will know the answer to
Yeah,
this.
it just kept spinning.
What
I didn't know
is
it was working.
it? Might be
It
your
was
internet.
spinning, like the screen just went black.
Right. That's what it does. If your internet is kind of spotty, it'll spin like that. But we're back now though. We can hear you. So my first
Okay.
question for a
So what were you
monetary
saying about the
prize
internet?
is, I was saying it may be your internet. If you are spinning, it's your internet connection. But there's nothing you can do about it right now. It's just sometimes internet is like that. So it's okay. I think she's froze.
Okay.
Okay. So my first question, you guys, is what is our butterfly evolution baby? What do we call our baby? What is it that we do that we call our baby? And if you've been listening tonight, you'll know the answer. But certainly, if you've been listening to us, you should you should know it. So the first person that posts the correct answer, I'll be reaching out to you to cash app you your gift. So that's the first one. Um, I guess anybody have anything to say that they want to get out right now? So okay, I got questions for you guys. I have your favorite quote. Um, Tika, for you, I have. It's interesting because I thought you were going to give me something different. I just knew I knew your answer, but you sent me something different. Um, Teach this triple truth to all: a generous heart, kind speech, and a life of service and compassion are the things which renew humanity. Expand on that for us. I think we're losing Tika. Tika, can you hear us, Tika? I can't hear her. I'll have to text
Okay,
her and let her
everybody
know we
keep
can't.
freezing. So you said it could be my internet.
Right. So we don't see ourselves freezing on this end. At least right now, are you seeing freezing? No? Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah,
seeing
but
it freeze.
yeah, freezing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Tika
So it
says
would be your
either
internet
freezing or going in and out.
buffering. Yeah. So it's your internet connection. So that would be, yeah, on your end because you're freezing up a lot.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. Um. So I was asking you
Okay.
to
Okay.
expand on your favorite quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're losing her. I know. I know.
Technology
Okay,
could be the best
Rodney,
thing
let's
ever, and
Okay.
then it's
I
not always.
know, I know, I know. So
Okay.
Rodney,
I'm
you
gonna I'm
gave me
gonna
a
just
favorite.
plug it into the box. Mhm.
Okay, that'll make a difference. So you gave me, you guys, technology. We apologize for that, but it is what it is. I'm telling you guys, that's something that I'm so proud of myself. Coming like, I don't even sweat it. It is what it is. I'm not gonna be freaked out about it. Whatever. Let's just keep going, make it work, or whatever. So thank you, and I hope if you're not there yet, get there because it's a beautiful place to be. Like, it is what it is. Let it do what it do, but don't let it do you. That's my favorite quote. One of them. So, Rodney, you sent me Romans 8 and 28. Speaking of Romans, we did you remember we did the Romans Bible study? We went through the book of Romans. You remember
Uh
that?
huh. I still remember.
Yep. We went,
We started with.
yep.
I think.
So
I
Romans
think
is,
we did start with Romans 1.
yes, yes, we did the Romans Bible study. I don't know about you, but Romans is probably my favorite chapter. I got a few, but I really like that
Yeah.
one. So, of the Bible. So Rodney gave me Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them who are called according to His purpose. So why did you pick that one? Why is that one your favorite? And
It's
how has it worked in your life?
um it it's one of those things that has always worked in my life. And I constantly, regardless of what situation I find myself in, even if it's something that um, that I did or I could have
Hmm.
prevented, um, it always seems to work out. Or I think about even taking the job here. When I started at my school, there were so many challenges. The school had gone through, a lot of turnover, um, and then COVID didn't help. Historically, the school, didn't have the best reputation. Just a lot of different things, and I remember, taking the job, and it like where my mind is today versus where it was 2 years ago. It's like, wow, like we're I mean, we still have a ways to go, but just looking at like there was nothing, um, you know, that could really stop the progress. And it was one of those things where like I just don't see how like I know that I want it to get better, and I know that like and I know I'm gonna do the work, but what
Hmm.
was ahead excuse me, what was ahead of me 2 years ago, on top of other things that I was dealing with, I was like, man. But fast forward, I mean, those 2 years flew by, and the school is in much better shape today than it was two summers ago. And so, regardless of anything that has happened in my life, I constantly see that scripture played out. And so, I think when you think about different parts of the scripture, first of all, um, you know, do
Mm.
do we know what the word love means according to the Bible, right? Um, and I think, you know, and because it says who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
Hmm.
So, we, and if you go back and look at First Corinthians 13, and it gives the description for love, and it talks about, love being patient and love being kind, and um, love doesn't boast, and all of those different things. And so if you ever want to, like if you ever curious, right, and you should not be, but like if you ever want to evaluate your love for anybody or anything. Just ask yourself, go through those things. And am I this way with this person or these people or this thing? Like it like is, and be honest with yourself, right? And so it says all things work together. It didn't say that they worked individually. It says all things work together, right? And
Mm.
so this thing may be good, this thing may be bad, this thing may be somewhere in the middle, but all of those things together work together for your good. So you're gonna have, if you think that it's just gonna be this puzzle with all of these,
Mm. Love
fabulous
that.
pieces. Like if you think that it's going to be like this every day is going to be a great, no, no, no. That's not what it said. It didn't say that it didn't say that every day was going to be ideal or the way that you want it. There are going to be days when you're going to like, whoo, right? There are going to be days when you're stressed out, but there are going to be days when you're like, man, like I just feel so calm and oh, like man, like this, I got a race today. Like but all of those things together work for your good. And so we have to remember and so if you love the Lord as it says, and then think about it, there's a scripture that says, how can you love God but don't love your brother? Right? So like you got to like really evaluate like where your love is for the Lord and then like really look at it and say, all right, somehow all of these things are going to come together for me because I love God and I've been called according to his purpose, right? And so
Rodney, do you feel that, if I could ask you a question, well, I'll say this. I feel that most people um, think that loving God and being called according to his purpose means that life is easy, that you're going to be without problems and issues and conflict. And I believe it is totally the opposite, because in order to grow, you do have to go through some things in order to grow. So do you agree that, do you feel that most people think that all that means that my life should be perfect and I should not have any trials and tribulations?
Mhm.
Would you agree or disagree with that?
I completely agree. I think that that's the way that we think, but we need to change the way that we think, right? Because that's not it, right? When you think about purpose, our motto next year at school is going to be we're changing the way we do middle school by leading with the why. And when I think about purpose, I think about relevancy. I think about when I think about the purpose, it's like what is the point, right? Like why am I doing this? Why am I involved in this, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes you're not going to get the answer right away. Sometimes you're going to go through um, you're going to go through some serious trials and tribulations. Sometimes you are going to go through the fire and all you're going to know the whole time is you burning. Right? You're not going to know when the fire is going to be turned off. You don't know when it's going to be turned down, and you get a little reprieve and get some water, and the fire is going to be cut back on. You don't know when you're going to be completely out of there. All you know is, man, it is hot, right? But it goes back to love. Love is patient, right? We want all of these amazing things from God, but we don't
Mhm.
want to wait for it. We don't want to have any um, we don't want to have any turmoil. We don't want to go through any trauma. We don't want to have any bad days, right? We think that, like you were saying, Tammy, like I do believe that that's the way we think as people. We think that, man, like life is
Mhm.
supposed to be good,
Mhm.
and and we look at people on TV, and the biggest illusion is social media, right? That's even worse than TV. We look at social media and all we see is these glamorous posts. We see all of this beauty and all of this glory, and um, and everything is shiny, and not knowing that people are not showing you their life 24/7. They are showing you a moment. They're showing you a glimpse because that's what they want you to see.
Yeah.
They don't want you to see the entire process. All they want you to see is, hey, I at 9:08 this morning, my hair was curly and it was shiny and it was pretty, right? But they're not gonna take the picture at 6:32 when their hair don't look like that, right? And so like we can't get caught up in like this is this is the process. Like the process is long sometimes. But
Mm-hmm.
if you
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that all things are working together, no matter how long it takes, you know that at some point it is going to end up better than the way that you predicted it in the first place. Before I turn it back because I see Tika's back. We
Right.
last week I learned that we had 9 teaching positions that were never filled. Right, 9, and four and a half of them were in English, which is a critical subject. And even
Mm.
with not being fully staffed, right, we only had half the teachers that we needed in English. But even with that, we still had a tremendous amount of growth, right? To the point where like I'm interested to see when the actual numbers come out from the state, but I know based on the preliminary numbers, like our numbers, looking at it in an earthly sense or looking at it in a worldly sense, like it, you show it to, they're like, what? Like it makes no sense why the data looks the way that it does, right? However, I didn't give up a year ago, right? When I didn't have the teachers, I didn't give up 2 years ago when, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when I walked into my school and I'm like, what in the world is going on here, right? But like you hang in there, and you do what you have to do, and like think things work together. It where it's supposed to be? No, but I can see the progression, and even without being fully staffed, right, and by a lot, the numbers still have improved. When anybody will tell you we should have gone way down
Um,
with what we were dealt this year.
right. Right. So before I turn it, I'm gonna read Tika's quote again because I think she might have missed it when we were trying to get that to her. But two things. It's funny. As one of the shows that I listened to, and I didn't listen to all of it, um, you talked about if you want to measure or know the love you have for someone, measure it when they have disappointed you. How do you treat them? How do you respond? What do you say? What don't you say? You were talking about how if you really want to know your perception of love and that kind of thing, notice how you treat people when they have made you feel some kind of way or you're not as happy with them. That will tell you a lot about how you view and perceive love. And two other things, we somebody said on there that most of us are after God's hand, not his heart. And I think we need to evaluate ourselves in that as well. And lastly, my spiritual mom said these words to me, and I've had to internalize them often. While she says, sometimes you just have to say to God, while I don't understand, I trust you. And those have been words that I have said to God many times
Mm-hmm.
over. While I don't understand what you're doing,
Trust you.
I don't get how you allowed us to be here or this to happen or for me to be going through this, my child. but I trust you. And that has been my keeper. That has settled my heart, settled my head, kept me faithful, um, and kept me in a relationship with God. Because I've had enough things to happen to me where I could have said, you know what, this God thing ain't for me. Like I could have, but those words, while I don't understand, I trust you. So, Tika, I had read your quote, and I'll read it again, and then ask you to just kind of expand on why it's your favorite quote. Um, how has it inspired you in your life? So yours was, teach this triple truth to all: a generous heart, kind speech, and a life of service and compassion are the things which renew humanity. Tika, I don't know what's happening with Tika.
Keeps going out.
It was moving just a minute ago, so I thought it was back. I did just see her
Yes,
move.
I'm here, but you know what? I
You are hardwired.
unhooked my work computer because I'm just wondering what's pulling all where.
Yeah, we're hearing about every other word from you. And I
No, I'm
know,
not hardwired.
Trent, you're not. Oh, I thought you were getting off to hardwire. Okay, okay. So yeah, it may be. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's just the area of your house. Like for me, there's certain rooms that just don't work for me. So it just could be where you are, um, in the house. If you're far away from like your modem or something like that, I was thinking you were gonna be. I thought you just said you were gonna go get hardwired, and I know that puts you
No, I'm
right
actually
in.
close
But
to
yeah,
it because
you're
I went
going
I
in and
went to
out.
get
Can you hear
it.
us now? Yep, she's freezing up again. Yep.
I can hear you, but yeah, I don't know if I'll make the rest of the show because I went to get,
Okay.
but I'm still,
Going in
yeah,
and
I'm still
out.
seeing you. So I don't
Okay.
know if I
Well,
can hook up through
I
my
we
phone
we
if
we
that'll be better.
Your phone
you
might
could
be
try it
better.
if you like. Yeah,
Yeah, your phone might be better.
My phone might be better.
yeah, and
Okay.
I don't plan to go, but yeah, it may be. You can try that, and we'll bring you back in.
Okay.
So, and you okay? So you guys, and I'm gonna just kind of hang out about 10 more minutes, because again, I wanted to kind of keep this light and just kind of thank people. Ask you guys to go back out and listen. There's so many shows out there. So if you find yourself, um, kind of, I don't know, in your space and just want to, listen to one of the former shows, go back and do that, because I do that often. Like I will go back and listen to the show, myself. And I believe, Rodney, we and Tika, we ended up with nine, like 900, and with Blog Talk, it was like 900 and almost 1,000 shows there. But we left Blog Talk years ago, so I don't even know where we are now with the number. And when we left Blog Talk, we were right over, well, a little bit over 100,000 listeners at that time. So we've touched a lot of ears, um, hearts, I hope, for sure. So again, I kind of just wanted to, because we've had so many people who followed us for so long. Like
Hmm.
they were there every Tuesday, um, listening to us, and we didn't talk about the kind of things that people normally would come and hang out with you to talk about. Like we talked about some stuff, but it was things that are going to, make you think, um, transform your life. And so they were probably seen more boring than the worldly kind of thing. Um,
Mm.
those that will make you grow. And that was always the mission for me, is to help people. Because I don't know if you guys are noticing this, but for me, and it might just be my world, people seem so, I was thinking about this today, it feels like they have separated from their soul, that there's no spirit, there's no, it's like
Mm.
we are entertaining zombies. People look is zombified a word? It's, they look detached.
We're gonna make it
um
one.
and it's interesting. I mean, it is like, I saw this person today, and that's what made me think about. I was like, wow, he seems so soulless. Like he doesn't have, like there's nothing there. Like I'm
But you know
looking
what?
at this person who seems to be human, but I don't. It didn't feel like anything was there.
But you know what, Tammy?
And so I feel that way.
I think that we are becoming more and more disconnected from who we are. Like our soul is our soul, our spirit, and our flesh. Like it's just all disconnected, and then we're disconnected from society. And I think a lot of it has to do with
Hmm.
um, we are either trained to be that way or we're allowed to be that way, starting from when we were small.
Hmm.
And or you have older people who've been sucked into the tech world or the internet, and so we have
Hmm.
become detached from reality, because
Hmm.
we don't sit down and have dinner as a family anymore. We don't go for walks together, right? We don't interact with people on a human level. When people go out
Right.
together, they're on their phones. They're not even talking to each other. I was
Hmm.
with some friends a few weeks ago, and like I'm looking at people, and I'm like, how are y'all here together? And everybody's head is down, and they're looking at their phone. Like
On
there's
your
no,
phone. Yep.
yeah, there's just no connection. And then like I was saying earlier, like we've tapped into this unrealistic world in social media, and and we think it's real life, and so now we don't know how to be
Hmm.
human. We don't know how to interact or be around people, and it's really sad to see. You have people who can't hold conversations because they're not used to
Right.
interacting with people. But that's just where we are. It looks like you're doing a lot better, Tika.
Yeah, I got on my phone.
And that's something.
Look at that. Problem solving. We
And
problem
you know
solve
what?
in the Part of Evolution show.
Yes, we are. It's funny you bring up. I was looking up paradigm shift, because that's Tika's baby, and because she introduced it to our world, and so it was talking about one of the greatest. An example of paradigm shift is what social media has done to um, the way we communicate. It's totally just changed how we communicate, and so it was interesting that you brought that up, because again, I was looking the paradigm shift up just today, because I knew I was going to put that back on Tika, and it talked about social media being one of the greatest paradigm shifts, and basically what it has done and is doing to us, because it's in some way, shape, or form, it is a form of disconnect. It really is, because you don't have that human experience, right? Feel, touch, energy kind of thing. So it does have its energy, but it is different. So isn't it funny that the cell phone just is working fine there?
Unbelievable.
What kind of cell?
I was have to leave the show. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to exit this way, but I just had to take a deep breath and said, okay, there has to be another solution. So yeah, another solution because
Always
I
a solution.
didn't
Yeah.
to get I did.
It always works out, y'all. I mean, it does. It does. It works out. So I won't read the because you know your favorite quote. So I because I've read it twice now. So tell us why that's your favorite quote and how has it inspired you in this life where you are now.
It has inspired me just its words alone. One of the things I noticed about people, and I really do contribute a lot of it to social media because it has detached us from social interaction with others. And so people are quick to dismiss someone, or people are quick to not have a sense of caring. People are quick to not have empathy. People are quick to just not have compassion. Just, I think that social media just causes us to, we can just play a game, or we can just pretend, or we can just do something, but we don't have to be authentically real or true to ourselves, or true to one another. And it has detached us from what reality, or what true generosity and compassion really is. And so, what I love so much about it is
Mm,
humanity does need something and someone to recognize that it's going to take us to give that renewal, just to renew humanity. It's going to take us, because it has it has been each and every one of us playing into that big pot of detachment. And so, and it's not going to take everybody, but it's going to take a few people waking up. And I recently heard a quote from Deepak Chopra. He said, reality is socially programmed hypnosis. And that was disturbing to me, because I'm
mm,
thinking, we all how we all hypnotized, how is this hypnosis? But for example, if you're driving somewhere, or you're driving home, and you tell yourself, I have to run by the grocery store to pick up some eggs or pick up something. If you don't put your attention on that specifically, your robotic default will just naturally drive you home. And so, for reality
mm-hmm.
to be socially programmed hypnosis, that was something that made me, I mean, when I tell you, put a lump in my throat, because that bothered me, because I don't want to be a part of the hypnosis of the masses. And so, I'm very intentional about making sure, one of the things that, even in that quote that I mentioned, the one thing that keeps us compassionate and humble and kind with our speech and generous with our hearts is staying in the moment. We got to stay in the present moment, because when we're staying in the present moment, I get to see the person in front of me that's talking, or I get to connect with the person that I'm listening to, staying in the moment. I'm not trying to think about what was said in the past. I'm not trying to think about, well, what we're planning to do in the future. If I stay in the moment and I listen to that person in the moment, I'm able to have a generous heart. Meaning, generous can be not not just financial, not just a
Mm,
monetary, generous in all levels. I'm able to be kind with my speech, because I'm listening to them, and I want to speak to them in the same manner that I want them to speak to me. And then I want to be able to be compassionate, and a life of service. I mean, most of my life, I've been a hairstylist most of my life. So I have lived, my job has been of service. And so whenever I work a job and I'm not given a service, that pulls something away from me, because I didn't realize how much I love being of service to others. Simply because when you lift,
mm,
I don't have to worry about lifting myself or doing individual things for myself. Just being there to lift and empower others, encourage them, iron sharpens iron, just being there for them, that reinforces that back for me. And so, what I love so much about it is, this is
okay.
exactly what those of us who are able to look in the mirror and say, I'm right here, I'm right in the moment. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm thinking. I'm aware, I'm paying attention to my intention. It's something that will actually help all of us to renew humanity because humanity needs a renewal.
It does. And one of the reasons, I think we're all, most of us, not all, um, I'll take it to my favorite. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, and before that, do not be conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, and we leave a lot of this out, but it's so that you can know God's perfect will for you. And so there's a sense of unlearning. If I had to go back and sum this all up, for the exit, for those of you who have listened over the years, or you just started listening to us, there is a level of unlearning that you have to be intentional about, because if you're not if your mind has not been transformed and renewed, then you're it's not likely that you're going to survive this journey of transformation. You have to consistently become unlearned and replace that with your new intentions, your new consciousness. Um, so much so for me, and I know Tika, I don't know if you remember this. We talked about dying to live. What's holding you back? I just gave one of the questions away, but anyway, dying to live. What's holding you back? And there are a great number of us that still to this day, like we started this 12 years ago. um and so y'all, this was way before everybody else was doing podcasts. Like there were so few of us at that time. It was a lot of us, but so few of us that were connected. Um but dying to live, like we are dying to live. And think about that. Think about, you were created by the Most High for a purpose, but
Mhm.
we we go down this road of Tika is the reason, the shiny new object syndrome. I was talking to her, and we ended up doing a show, I guess a couple of months about that. But we're so attracted and attached to this world, so much so. How can you not be conformed to it? How can you not, as Tika said, the hypnosis, like we are being hypnotized and we don't know it because we're so detached and unattached to that spirit, um, that will guide us. And so, if you take away nothing from this, um, there is a sense of unlearning that you must do, and it is a death. Like I truly felt like the Tammy, so much so, you guys, that I literally wanted to change my name, because I got to a place where I did not feel connected to Tammy anymore. But then I had to realize is I don't have to take it that far. Could have, if I and still could if I wanted to, but I had a death. There's the Tammy that existed then died, and I continue to shed parts of her, um, that is necessary, I guess. And the later you start, the harder it is, because there's so many levels to tear open, which is the reason being a grandmother, um, is being the right kind of grandma, an intentional grandma, um, that that I don't feel like I have to spank my grandkids all the time. I make them listen, I make them do what they need to do, but it's just a consciousness that takes place and a paradigm shift that takes place,
Mhm.
um, and it's unexplainable. I don't. It's you have to go through it. Like you have to experience that death, the death of self, the self as you know, the life as you know, the traumatic experiences that are no longer happening to you other than in your mind, the traumatic experience that you keep replaying, keep reliving, those habits that you've those bad habits, those generational curses that you've become attached to.
Mhm.
So if nothing else, go back and listen. Farewell to Butterfly Evolution Radio Show doesn't mean that it's gone because the shows are still out there. It's just it's time to elevate the name, in my opinion, and move to a deeper level of topics that will um, be attract people who are, like Tika said a few minutes ago, we have to. And I wanted to ask her who is we, and she answered the question for me. But she's right. Like we, the like-minded people who have did the work, who will continue to do the work, because now it's become, um, I'll say, an addiction for me. I can't go back. I can't think like I used to think. I have to observe myself. I have to hold myself accountable, um, because now I've shifted so much until that that Tammy that I used to be. Um, oh wow, it's like ugh, you know. She tries to surface sometimes, but I'm so far to where she can't, because as Tika said earlier, I'm observing myself. I'm talking to myself. I'm asking those questions because I know where I want to go. I have a plan for my life, and that is to continue to renew my mind in such a way that I don't lose sight of myself, the self that God created me to be. And that is one of the greatest battles that I think we're dealing with today is we are fighting ourselves. We're fighting God's divine order for our lives and for this world. And it's not working. You guys, if we don't stop and get it together, it's going to be so bad, because it's already bad. But when you have people who are disconnected from who they are and don't know themselves, like what kind of world do you think that's going to open up for you and your children, your grandchildren, and those afterwards? So we have to be intentional about helping people connect first with themselves, um,
Yeah.
so that we can connect with others and help them through and out of their own hell, of their own hell. So I don't know, you guys. This I kind of stayed long there. I do want to get a few of the questions out so people can win some money. And
Yes.
while I'm looking for the questions, you guys, anything y'all want to jump in and say?
That's always the important thing. People care about money and food.
So well, I can't send them food. If you live here, I can. If you live nearby, I can get you some food if that's what you want, rather than the dollars. But I already put one question out there, and that was what is our baby? And so you'll have to put it in the comments section, what that is. And I gave one of them away, so I won't ask that. What date did we do our very first show, Tika and I? What was the date of our very first show? Um,
You know what? I think I know the year. I don't think I know the date, but I think I know the year.
but I'll give y'all a hint. If you know my numbers, my numbers that I always see, and I thought that was so fascinating. And y'all know to oh, I almost gave it away. I almost gave it away. See, y'all caught that. Tika did, because, well, if you know my numbers, you would know this. For those of you who truly know me, I have seen these numbers all like so long. It's just crazy. other people see them now and text them to me like, "Hey, it's la 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 la." Um, so I'm not going to tell you though, but it's very interesting, and it, especially with us doing this today, and
Mm.
that was a hint. That was a hint. Like today's date. Um, that's all I'm going to say. Um, let's see. And then here's one: name an author or the name of or his or her book title that we interviewed on the show. And you can only get one right. So if you know, answer one. We want to be fair with this. I want people to get.
Anybody's been following this show, I mean, there have been a lot of authors
Yeah,
on this show.
it's been a lot. But if you've been following, there's a few that should just stand out. And then the last one, I'll just stop here. What was our initial mission and purpose for the show? And you don't have to give the long version of this, but it's like a really simple issue, not issue, but answer for this. Our mission and purpose. Tiki and I were very, very, we were very, I don't know, stern about that at that time. And we had this set audience and things like that that we were targeting,
Right.
and the show went left. Like it wasn't even about that. Like we had
Oh
all
yeah.
that thing. So it's, yeah, it's kind of like they say, you make plans and God laughs.
That's
Like I really, yeah, that's so true, especially in my life. That's so true. So you have the questions. Drop the answers. I'll tell y'all what. I'll let this go through the night. I'll check it in the morning. I'll check it in the morning. And for those who have the first answer to those questions, and remember, you can only win once. And if you are the winner, I will get your Cash App, and it'll be a very unique and specific amount that is specific to my numbers and the show. Um, I'll just say that. So be something to get you lunch, not get you a house, but lunch. So,
I think
just,
that's
just
fair.
make this, just get that clear. I want y'all to be like, oh, that's all she sent. Yeah, like lunch. That's all, lunch. But I'm excited that I made it through this without tearing, because I promise you, when I listened to the first show we did, I mean, I got overwhelmed. But I think it was the grandmothers. I think just hearing us start out with with Tika and I just being so passionate about our grandmothers. And it's funny because Tika and I, our grandmothers look so much alike. Would you agree? Tika? Like we comparing our grandmothers, and
yes.
just talking about them like it was just kind of it was just interesting. Um, but Butterfly Evolution Radio has saved my life. I'll even say that, like, it has bought me some peace. Because I'll be the first. People think that you have this kind of perfect life. There was a time where I didn't want to live. Like I just I remember saying, if this is what this world has to offer, I don't want it. I don't want any parts of it. I don't want any part of the people. I had gotten to that place where it didn't seem like so important to be here.
Mm.
There has to be another way, another set of people who are human, like, and that was a long time ago. But I do, even now, not to that degree, but I feel like this is just not my home. I feel so detached from this world and people until I have to be intentional. Um, but in doing that, I'm intentional about the spirit of the people. I'm just not wasting my time with people anymore, because you guys, that can mess us up. You have to have
Mhm.
discernment. So I'm talking too much. I'm gonna give it over to y'all, and we will. What it's Yeah, we'll try to just get ready to close it and bring it up to about 9. I guess I know it's late for you guys, and I know we shifted here and there, but the end of the story is Butterfly Evolution is going to be put to rest tonight. Last show under Butterfly Evolution. I'll come back. I believe in August with my new platform, our new platform, topics and things like that. They're gonna get tough. They're gonna talk. I need to talk about some things that I've been avoiding, and I know that there are issues that people are going through. We just don't want to talk about it. So we're gonna graduate, elevate, so that we can spiritually move forward the way that God wants us to, so that we can bring glory to his kingdom and to the people that he loves so much. So over to you guys. I ain't got nothing to say after I
I'll
said
let
all
you go
that.
ahead.
I mean,
I'll let you
that was
go
a
ahead,
mouthful.
Tika.
No, I when I first got on the show, I felt you feel that lump just forming in your throat. I thought I was going to tear up. And so Jolie was walking by. I said, hand me a Kleenex," just because I'm like, I'm gonna tear up. I'm like, I better not tear up. But I'm glad I didn't. I made it through because I'm super sensitive to sentimental things. Like I love beautiful things that are sentimental, and to be able to be here at the very ending, I was so honored when Tammy asked me that. Oh my goodness, I teared up then, and I'm gonna hold it together tonight. I might shed a few tears afterwards, but it's beautiful to be able to um, complete this journey with you. It's an honor to do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but like for
yeah.
your new phase and the new stage starting, it's like Butterfly Evolution. The show is getting ready to go through its chrysalis stage, like a butterfly, to where one body comes to an end and a new body comes to life. So that's beautiful. I'll end with that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you
And thank you
for thinking.
for and y'all are not off the hook. You're gonna come back and do some of these new shows. I'm not gonna give the name out tonight. I'm just gonna wait until I get everything set up the way that I want it to be, and come on back with it. But so Butterfly Evolution is I won't even say any more about Butterfly Evolution Radio. It
Tammy,
served its purpose. It's
I um, I say shout out to both of you for getting this show up and running, and I don't take it lightly, um, the work that you've put in, and you know, 10 plus years is a long time to come back week after week
yeah.
That's
um,
amazing.
and pour out, um, and even when it's not, um, it's not the Steve Harvey morning show, right? It's not one of these shows that people just like run after, and like they gotta be in the car, or they gotta be sitting in their favorite chair at 8 p.m. At night, or 9 o'clock on the East Coast. But like it's one of those things where, like, I think you have to be proud of sticking to
Hmm.
your brand and what you set out, because you have a lot of people who are in this industry, but they've gotten away from, you know their vision, or they've gotten away from their platform because they weren't getting enough views, or they weren't getting enough likes. And and over the years, you've said, regardless of what happens externally, like internally, I'm going to continue doing the work that I'm doing. And because of that, you can stand here now and say, look at the growth that has happened in me over all these years,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
look at the growth in other people who allowed that work to happen. Look at, you know, those things. I think about my grandmother who's still living, who was on the show one time because she called me a couple times, and then
Yes.
one time she actually talked on the show, and you know, and so she's still alive, but you know, not doing too well. But even thinking about that, like I think about my wife Tamaria, who always tuned in and supported the
Mhm.
show, and now is, you know,
Always.
releasing her book, and started her own podcast. And so, just so many things. I mean, you've had two grandchildren be born. I don't know about Miss Tika, but like I've had a child to be born during this time, and so like so many changes and different things have happened. So I think, um, shout out to you, Tammy, for keeping this thing going for so long. Shout out to you, Miss Tika, for getting right there in the beginning and getting things going with Tammy. And I think there can only be greater things to come. So I'm excited,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I know that you'll continue to do really good work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you both. I can't say enough about you. Gosh, it's been great. It really has, you guys. And it's going to be greater.
Yes.
I know it.
Believe me.
You will be pleased with what's to come. Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for your support, and I ask for your continued support as we work to bring some great things that we're working on. And I know you've been hearing that, but we really, really are. Um, and if you've been listening, you know I will takes a long time because I'm a perfectionist and I will check it over a couple of times over. So I'm getting better. I'm working on that. So it's not going to take that long anymore, but it's going to take long. So hang in there with us. Be on the lookout for the next phase. Please go back out and keep Butterfly Evolution Radio alive by listening to those former shows. You can just Google Butterfly Evolution Radio, Blog Talk Radio, or Butterfly Evolution, and they will come up. If you can't find them, I'll send you some. But they are worth listening to. You are worth what you will get out of it. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, of feeling empty, more than you feel peaceful or at home with yourself, do something different. Step away from the world and listen to shows like what we've been doing. And if it's not us, there are plenty more people out there doing some of the same shows. Rodney's wife, Tamaria, she has a great platform. Um, you'll find her through Rodney's page and my page as well. So there are so many people out there, more than we know, that is promoting what we're doing. So you have a choice of what you feed your mind, feed your spirit, allow in your heart. You have a choice. You do not have to be attached to this world or the things of this world. You have a choice. So, with that being said, Tika and Rodney, thank you for tonight. Um, I want to have you both back on when I get everything set up under the new platform. Um, just to kind of, I know Tika, you know about the stages of transformation. We were talking about that, maybe to introduce that, so people can identify where they are in this season, and then go forward with it. So thank you all. I kept you longer than I wanted to, but I appreciate you. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It is what it is. It happens.
I'm off the next
Nothing
5 days,
we
so
can
it's
do
okay.
about it. Whatever. I hope it rain and snow every day.
It's okay because I'm gonna be in the
Rain
house
and
anyway.
snow.
So, And then I'll be in Florida for
So
a conference at the end
thank
of
you.
that. So it's all good.
Oh, good.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's always good. Thank you guys. Blessings. Thanks everyone. Bye bye, Butterfly Evolution Radio. Farewell. All right.
Good night,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.